Hi, everyone. I just opened up the Zoom room, so everyone can start coming in. And we can get started in a little bit, in a few minutes. I would say grab a notepad, grab whatever you need to take notes for yourself. And I'll explain the whole Q&A section as we go along. I hope everyone's evening going well. I know it's 6 o'clock right now. It's still late. It seems much later now because of time change, but it's only 6 o'clock and we're here to just learn about Cal State Fullerton. And I know you may have lots of questions, so I'm here to help with that as well. So we'll get started in about 2 minutes or so. We have about 9 attendees still. I know those are about 40 plus families or parents that signed up for today. So we'll give it a few minutes. And good evening, Tony. I see you put in the chat. Good evening. Thanks, Jennifer. I see that too. Okay, Joe, just to be respectful of time, I'll go ahead and get started. It's now 6:01. So thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Vanessa Lewis, and I'm an Outreach and Recruitment Counselor, a part of the Outreach and Recruitment Department. So we're the people you see like front and center, pre-COVID during time like fairs, presentations at your student schools, any community type event as well. So today we're gonna learn a little more about Cal State Fullerton, how you can get more involved, what your student or your child goes through in college, and how they go through the whole process. So before we get started, I'll go ahead and take care of some housekeeping. So for this webinar, this presentation is being recorded. I cannot see you or I cannot hear you. All the sessions that are being recorded and this one as well, we are putting it on our fall webinar series tab. So if you go to our main website, just like you signed up, it's going to be in the fall webinar series tab right here, and you can access it for future recording just in case you need to go back. At the end of this presentation, I'll actually show you again how to go through it on YouTube. We have all recorded sessions on there as well. And also please be aware that we're using the Q&A function. I understand the chat, you can see it going. But if you could please all direct your questions to the Q&A. I do have a representative helping me with the Q&A. So when I'm speaking and I'm not able to see it, the representative can go ahead and answer there as well. So be as detailed as you need to be, and we'll go ahead and move forth. So we're going to first start off with CSU Resources, because there's many different levels or different areas of higher education, UCs, Cal States, private schools, out-of-state schools, and community colleges. So speaking specifically about the CSU system, we're the largest system for higher education. We encompass about 23 campuses, and that ranges from Humboldt State University down to San Diego State. There's about 772 miles in that, and with that, the Cal States are creating equal opportunity and accessibility for all students in NorCal, Central California, and SoCal. It's very diverse when it comes to students, faculty, and staff, even with the majors, especially. What a major is offered at Chico State, Sacramento, Fresno may not be offered at Fullerton, San Bernardino. So just a big range of majors and minors as well. According to fall 2019, we make up about 481,000 students who have been enrolled. Again, when the census comes out, when all the new data comes out, it'll be a totally different number. When it comes up to next year, there are about 53,000 faculty and staff supporting your students, whether it's admissions, outreach and recruitment, supplemental programs, athletics, whatever it may be. We're here to help the students get through their journey when it comes to college. 50% of students are students of color, and 1 in 3 students are first in their family to attend college. And I'm definitely one of those statistics. And I know a lot of students who contact us on a daily basis are in this situation to want to know more information. When it comes to degrees and what we offer bachelor's degrees, credential programs, master's degrees, and doctoral programs. So if a student wants to definitely further their education, or yourself, if you want to further education, we definitely have programs here for you when it comes to that. The CSU system produces the most teachers, engineers, computer scientists, nurses, and entrepreneurs working in California. Moving forward, so now we're speaking about Cal State Apply. Cal State Apply is a system where all 23 applications are done at one time. And so it's very convenient, very simple. A lot of, in the applicant help center, there's a lot of PDFs and step-by-step tutorials that help you along the way to fill it out. So it's not as overwhelming or confusing. For fall 2021 term is very different from many others due to COVID, and it changed a lot of different admissions processes and deadlines. So for this fall 2021, you need to apply ahead of time. And so the application has been open from October 1st through December 4th. And we do encourage the students to please apply as soon as possible. You know, it takes time to go through all the 4 quadrants when it comes to asking about yourself, your academics, EOP, which is Educational Opportunity Programs, and also the supplemental questions in the back in quadrant 4. So there's 4 quadrants. They need to fill out the best of their knowledge, everything correctly. And then once they submit it, they will see if they're eligible for a fee waiver. I know that's one of the common questions. In order to see that, you do have to go to the end of the application to see if, to check the button if you're checked for your fee waiver status. And if you are eligible, you do get free 4 applications for free. And if you do not, it might be because of eligibility, you didn't meet the eligibility requirements, but no need to panic. There's always other opportunities to pay for not necessarily the application itself, but when it comes to tuition and fees, when it comes to financial aid, and we will touch upon that later in the presentation. Also on the bottom, you will see the calstate.edu/apply. If you want to do explore that yourself on the website, there's so much information you can go through, whether you're a freshman, transfer, graduate, international, or want to get a teacher credential. And they can help you sort through the information of choosing a campus, a degree, getting to a CSU system, and paying for college. So any links on the Cal State website is extremely helpful. They even have webinars for high schools and counselors to stay up to date with information. So now going to the right side, we see impaction. And impaction means that a campus receives more applications of qualified applicants than there are available spaces. You know, Cal State Fullerton would love to accept everybody and anybody, but unfortunately, due to space, we are not able to do so. So when it comes to impaction, we are impacted on the right side on the yellow column. We're impacted in our programs all around, in our campus all around. And we're part of the Super 7, which is Fresno all the way down to San Luis Obispo or SLO. And in the middle column is campus impaction. So just at the campus level from Chico down to San Marcos. And then on the left side, CSU eligibility is to meet the minimum eligibility for a CSU from Bakersfield to Stanislaus. So again, all the CSUs have different types of impaction. Always look in your local area first on what is offered. And if you ever need information, you can always go to the CSU website. And again, this is just a blown up version of how it will look, choosing a campus, degree, getting to a CSU, and paying for college. And you can click on the top links to go to the specific population you're going into. So now moving forward with when it comes to CSU admission requirements. So for Cal State systems, the campuses have the same admissions criteria, but do have different policies overall. So if we wanted to go to Fullerton, but you also want to apply for Humboldt State, we might have the same basis and same minimum requirements, but they may want something other than what we want, and vice versa. So always check the admissions website, always check with the outreach and recruitment staff on to get that word out first as well. So for freshmen, again, for fall 2021, and again, it's for fall 2021 only. We don't have any directives after that so far. You do need to be a high school graduate or equivalents, complete their A through G coursework. And then for the last 2, it varies by campus. So meet minimum GPA cutoff and supplemental factors may differ. And I will definitely go into the PDFs that we have supplied for our students. And as for transfer students, those that has not changed at all. For a good academic standing, 60 transferable units, the golden 4. When it comes to that, it's oral communication, written communication, mathematics, quantitative reasoning, and critical thinking. Also meeting GPA cutoff. We do get common questions that as well. The GPA cutoff, myself and many of the employees on campus don't know until after the fact when admission is done with all the counts and statistics, looking through all the applications and when they submit their documentation. So we know what may perhaps the end of summer when we need to know for fall, that is a GPA cutoff. But in your control, keep up with your grades, aim for high grades, and always remain aware of all the deadlines that are around the corner. An optional associate's degree for a transfer. This is a way for transfer students to get more of a benefit. A point when boosting their GPA, they can be accepted to the CSU system. It may not be of their choice, depending on impaction in GPA, but they can get into a campus or redirected. And also, depending on the degree itself, we're trying to strive for those 2 years to graduate in 2 years. Because you did 2 years at community college, I did 2 years out of 4 years. So that's definitely an option. Always speak to your community college counselor, talk to your students about it as well. So now that we kind of jumped in, we learned a little bit about the CSU system overall, we're going to dive into what Cal State Fullerton is all about. So we were founded in 1957. It's fairly easy to remember. We're off the 57 freeway and surrounding streets. We're the 12th CSU established. And so that means 12 of the 23 campuses. We had a starting class of 452 students, which is very little. And now we are about 40,000 students. And again, it's not 40,000 students all the time on campus. It can be online, full-time, part-time, when it comes to graduate students as well. So a lot of commuter students mixed in with students staying on campuses, different ages, different students all around. And we have 15 Division I athletics. I know there's a lot of talk of what's going to happen when it comes to spring of all the athletics. Always encourage students and parents and families to follow them on social media if you can. They're always reaching out to our audience, to our students, making sure that they're still there. Although they can't compete at the level in person, they're there all around, still being students, still going to class and everything. And as for our mascot, Tuffy the Titan. So as you see on the left side, you see an elephant, and our campus had the first intercollegiate elephant ring in human history. A lot of spectators, I believe about 10,000 spectators there going over, doing news coverage, and this elephant won the race. And so Tuffy the Titan came around where no other competing mascot or no other competing name was in the mix. So that won, and especially Tuffy started showing up on notebooks, on sweaters, anything you put a sticker on started showing up. And so we unofficially adopted Tuffy the Titan. We're the only CSU located in Orange County. We're 7 miles from Disneyland, where a lot of our students did go have Disneyland passes and did it on their free time, and 22 miles from Los Angeles. Some unique majors to keep in mind is that we have Bachelor's in Fine Arts, Musical Theater, International Business, BS to MS Computer Engineering, and direct entry to nursing. When it comes to know more about, what is your student getting into, all the campuses, we are made up of 8 academic colleges, which it means that these are where the majors and minors are held, and the staff and faculty are held under that as well. So you can think of college education, college of the arts, college of communications, and so forth. So they do make up different buildings most of the time when it comes to that. And within those 8 academic colleges, we make up of 110 degrees and programs. So that can be, they can branch off into concentrations and minors as well. A common question we do get is, should we double minor? Should we double major? That is actually up to you as a student, and you can talk, parent and student can talk to each other about it. But when it comes to an academic counselor, that would be the best person to speak with. When it comes to that, you can always add a minor, always add a major once you do attend Cal State Fullerton, if you would like to do so. It's just speak with an advisor. It might be paperwork, but it's definitely a possibility. When it comes for fall 2019, we had around 40,000 students. So that number has been very consistent throughout the years. Again, they're not always on campus at the same time. The average age is 23 years old. So we do help our transfer students in a local area and out of local areas to transfer to Cal State Fullerton. They even have their own CSUF Transfer Center for there as well. For May 2019, we had around 302 students who did graduate. Again, always, and this commencement might look different this year as well. When it comes for spring students, when they want to walk or not walking, they're still in the talks of that. For the acreage of the campus, we have 241 acres and make one of 31 buildings. So for the top 5 freshman majors, it goes from business administration, computer science, criminal justice, public health, and psychology. And for the transfers, business administration, communications, child adolescent studies, psychology, and sociology. For accolades, so with this area, accolades do show and represent the school, what they've accomplished so far in the years. It is different perspectives about them on how you want to, do you want to go to the best school for business, want to go best school for nursing, but every institution in CSU is great. Honestly, you just have to pick the one that suits you the most. Do you want to be on a large campus, small campus? What clubs do they have on campus? Where are you close to? Where do you want to live? So those are some things to keep in back of your mind. For Cal State Fullerton, for accolades, we are number 1 in the CSU to graduate women Latinas. We have the top 5% for best colleges ever money. CSU System is a very affordable system compared to other institutions, and a lot of money is given by grants and through the financial aid process. And we're number 6 in the nation for enrolling transfer students. Again, we do help our transfer students who do the 2+ years at a community college and do want to come to Cal State Fullerton. And so for our notable alumni, students make up our campus, they keep it running, keep it going. And so one of the people who were here was Gwen Stefani. And so although Gwen Stefani did not graduate from Cal State Fullerton, she did take some classes here. She did practice in an amphitheater on campus when it came to it. She was on trial with no doubt, but she's someone we really like to highlight. When it comes to Justin Turner, baseball player, very famous. When it came to, they just won the World Series. His name was everywhere, but he's a great representative of our school. Tracy, she's a NASA astronaut. She has done 3 spacewalks, and she's actually approved for one in 2030. And then lastly, Roger, the CFO of In-N-Out Burgers. He's always giving back to our campus. A fun note is that whenever we have athletic events, again, pre-COVID, there always be an In-N-Out truck on campus giving out free food to our students to keep them, happy, but always giving back to their campus. Campus resources for students and their families to be aware of. When comparing it to high schools or even community colleges, there's resources on campus that can help you, Veterans Resource Center, ASB, clubs, whatever it may be. The same thing goes for Cal State Fullerton and other CSUs. There might be a department specifically for one thing where another area is combined. But these are just at a quick glimpse of what we have going through the academics and personal development, safety and health, student careers, and student life. Some highlighted areas I do want to show is that diversity initiatives and identity-based centers. We have something called DIRC, which makes up the centers. And it's on the first floor of our Pollack Library, which is a library at the heart of our school, right in the middle. There's 5 centers that make it up. So African American Studies, LGBTQ, Asian Pacific Islanders, Latinx, and Dreamers Resource Center, where students who identify or don't identify, they do not have to identify as that, but we have centers to make you feel at home, build a sense of community. We also educate others. It's usually student ran when it comes to those, but those centers are so colorful, they're beautiful, they're filled with students who just want to continue learning and being part of a community. When it comes for safety and health, we do come from the Student Recreation Center. When I was there in 2016 for Cal State Fullerton, I loved it. I went to class, went there. When I walk in, it's just wide open space. You have to sign in with their Titan card, which your student will be more familiar with. At high schools and community colleges, they have their own ID card. They have their own specific one for Cal State Fullerton. They can sign in through there, and they have the luxury to go on the track on the open spaces for the basketball courts. They have a rock climbing wall, and someone's there to help them along the way. Cardio room, weight room. And so again, it's just a lot of, it's really updated as well, but a lot of space and time to create friends and a sense of community when you're not in your classes. When it comes to student life, we have 350 clubs and organizations on campus. A lot of our student staff, they're in different clubs, like Folklorico clubs. Some of them are in a Costco club where they go get samples. Again, pre-COVID most of the time, but they go get samples and they compare foods. Napping clubs, they have amazing clubs on campus, whatever you want to be into. But they also have the academic side and the professional side of clubs as well. If there's not a club where one of the students like, I can kind of tweak it a little bit, make it my own, you do need 5 people to start a club, and you would go through student life and leadership to do that. But I will always recommend go on the social media and find out what those clubs are all about. And lastly, housing and residential engagement. I do touch upon this on later end, but housing residential engagement is for transfer students to live on campus or off campus housing, which is near the school. So transportation is a little easier, don't wake up too early going to classes. But it's, again, a chance for them to grow and meet new people along the way. And again, I will touch upon that later in the slides. And beyond the classroom. So again, academics is a big deal. You do have to get education. That's always first when it comes to Cal State Fullerton, but we do want to build upon the knowledge and on student when it comes to studying abroad in a way. So when it comes to that, there's 40 plus different countries, 120 different cities you can go to, 6 different continents, and a Washington, D.C. trip if you want to go too far. Although with this, study abroad has been suspended until summer 2021 so far. So I hope that, they're always keeping everyone in the loop. But if you do want to find out more, you're welcome to go type in the search engine on Google, CSUF Study Abroad, and they have information sessions. So yourself and the student can go into, learn more about, how can we get started, what other countries you can go to or cities, just to start thinking about ahead of time. And I know a lot of questions come from finances. How do I support that? There's an option to use a financial aid money towards that. And again, you can always speak to a representative in the study abroad program to go through it. When it comes to Tucker Wildlife Sanctuary, that is owned by the College of Natural Science and Mathematics, which is NSM, which is one of the academic colleges for students to go into studying biology and different areas in their majors in that to learn more, and this is more hands-on experience. And for the Vision Performing Arts Center, Grand Central Arts Center in Santa Ana and CSUF Garden Grove Centers where collegial arts, those students go and perform there as well, and they even sometimes work there. So we're definitely part of different communities when it comes to our students. Moving forward, I believe the last slide for more of the highlights. So graduation initiatives, Tuffy's Graduation Scholars. So this is an awesome program where your student can go into Cal State Fullerton and say, for example, they get accepted for fall 2021. The graduation scholars will help them from beginning to end when they graduate, helping them in the academic sense, professional sense, health, any questions that they have, and even financial assistance when they had different scholarships and grants. When it comes to Tuffy's Basic Needs, this is a wonderful program where a student needs some toothpaste, some hygiene products. They need some clothes for their interview. There's actually a Tuffy's closet in the Tuffy's Basic Needs department where a student can pick, I believe, up to like 7 items or so. They can pick it up, keep them, and they take them to the interview because we want them to nail the interview and make sure they're prepared for it. So that is a wonderful department. Also, they're always accepting donations along the way as well. For student success teams, this is when so we have 8 academic colleges. There's a success team in each college that is filled with the dean, major advisors, career specialist, retention specialist, graduation specialist, a team right there to help you along the way to start from beginning to end. So any questions directed towards that major, directed towards that minor, you can always connect with the student success team and they can help you along the way. And then lastly on this page is I choose 15. And choosing 15 units, again, is optional. The reason why we give this campaign is because we want to make sure that students are taking full advantage of their financial aid, because we are going by brackets. And when it goes to brackets, we're 1 through 6 units, you're paying a certain amount, and 7 through 15 units or so, you're paying a certain amount. So whether you're taking 7 units, you're still paying the same amount as if you're taking 15 units. So we want to make sure students that are fully aware and they're taking advantage of the financial aid. I know Isaac's still going in there and answering the questions from the chat and Q&A. So continue to put your questions in there. And actually at the end as well, I'll go ahead and touch upon them too. So feel free to continue communicating through the Q&A section. And for the CSU admissions, we'll move forward for the requirements. So when it comes to admissions guides, we do have 2 specific ones. So one for the transfer center, transfer students, and one for the first-time freshmen. So these have been made in PDFs to give the students. They're actually available for download if you go to www.fullerton.edu/OR. And then if you scroll down to the middle of the page, they'll have 2 links, a blue button, an orange button. You can click on the one that suits your student. But this is just also to help you what they're going through, how they're staying organized to the deadlines. So this is just the front page of those PDFs, but the PDF does have a second page that goes over all the deadlines. Feel free if you have any questions to reach out, especially I'll put the information on the end of the slide, but this was sent to our local areas and our serving areas for our high schools and our community colleges. So to just briefly touch upon this for first-time freshmen, again, this is directed towards fall 2021. This is the criteria that's needed to meet at the minimum for eligibility, be a high school graduate or equivalent, complete A through G coursework, meet minimum GPA cutoff, and then as the asterisk on the bottom, students applying to CSUF will require higher GPAs to be competitive due to impaction. This is not the same for all the campuses, but when it comes to Cal State Fullerton, this is where it comes to be. So when it comes for California residents and graduates of California high schools with a 2.5 or greater A through G GPA. And again, we're only looking at A through Gs to see what the GPA is, and all the other classes we are not. But when it comes for non-California residents earning a 3.0 or greater A through G GPA. In addition, additional requirements are for first-time freshmen when it comes to dance, music, nursing, BS to MS, computer engineering. And this is if you go to CSUF admissions and you click on prospective students and you click on first-time freshmen, it will give all the same information just like on the PDF, just in a different format on the website, but it goes over all the details that is needed. When it comes to local area freshman applicants, there's a map on the left side just to give you a very general sense of what it is. So when it comes for first-time freshman applicants, it'll be Orange County, Chino, Corona Norco, Walnut, Whittier, and Alvord. And when it comes for first-time freshman deadlines, again, this is on the PDF. If you download it, this is just a different format on the website, but it goes from the last day of when your Cal State Apply application is due all the way down to July 2021 when they can start the last day to send their scores in. So this in between, everything's important. Being Cal State Fullerton is very deadline driven, so we want to make sure that students are aware. And myself and my colleagues that serve the different campuses, we're here to help you along the way when it comes to that. So for our transfer students, we do, again, these have not changed compared to the first-time freshmen, but we are expecting for good academic standing, 60 transferable units, and of those 60, 30 units of general education courses. When it comes to the Golden Four, or communication, brain communication, critical thinking, mathematics, and quantitative reasoning, you can also see them as A1, A2, A3, and B4 on your educational plans. An optional one was associate's degree for transfer. Again, you do not have to do this, but it does help you in a way that the benefit, again, is a 0.1 boost in your GPA. You can get accepted to the CSU system, again, not every choice due to impaction or GPA overall, but you can be redirected. It does help you try to aim for the 2-year mark when it comes for graduation. If you do need more information, students and families always speak to your community college counselor when it comes to this, because they are the ones that can look at the paperwork in front of you. You got to fulfill all of the major requirements and general requirements involved in that to make sure that it's good to go. Some statistics on the side for fall 2020 cutoffs. The local area was a 2.8 and out of local is a 3.2. Again, local areas, Orange County schools. Again, fall 2020 and fall 2021 are very unique. COVID has changed and shifted a lot of ways when it comes to financials. When it comes to am I going to community college instead of a CSU or vice versa? So these numbers are a little lower than usual when it comes to competitiveness. And as for fall 2021, we haven't seen what's going to happen yet because we're still waiting for the applications. And for transfer students, majors with additional requirements is criminal justice, dance, music, and nursing. Again, you can always check the CSU admissions website under perspectives tab, and they will show everything you need to know about the major requirements. I just want to give you a brief snapshot of what it might look. And as our transfer students, again, very similar timeline to the first-time freshmen. There are a couple of differences when it comes to verifying your degree for AAT, AST. Again, that's not for everybody. That's for those who are going for the associate degree for transfer. But make sure you have the same deadline for the application and the last day for July 15th, 2021, when it comes from the final official transcripts. This is just a map of the local transfer area ranging from Coastline down to Santiago Canyon College. Those are our local area transfers. Now moving forward to cost and financial aid. So we went over admissions, a little bit about Cal State Fullerton and what the CSU system is all about. So we need to learn how to fund our education. So when it comes to financial resources, there are a variety of ways to do so, but what it all goes back to is filling out your financial aid applications. So there's two different ones: free application for federal student aid, FAFSA, and Cal Dream Act overall. You want to make sure that they end in .gov. You never want to pay for these services. These should be free. They were actually open October 1st, just like the Cal State application was, but these have a later date of March 2nd. So you do have a good amount of time, but we always encourage families, students to make sure you're filling this ahead of time, because for example, you want to sit down with your child as they're doing this, because the parents do have a certain part to fill out for themselves, and the student has to fill out their own as well. And you have to make sure that the certain criteria suits what you want to do. Once you fill those out, you get put in the system where it's trying to figure out what you're eligible for based on the criteria what you have put in. Some areas of financial resources are federal work study, loans, grants, and scholarships. So when it comes to federal work study, that is up to, for example, Cal State Fullerton determine if that student is eligible for federal work study, and if so, they'll let them know via email and their information in their application. And when it comes to that, we have a system online where students can navigate if they want an academic position, work on campus on one of the restaurants, fast food restaurants. Again, that's kind of a step-by-step process, and that's communication from the financial aid office. When it comes to loans, it's always a tricky topic when it comes to loans, but if you definitely do not need loans, don't take loans out. But if you need to cover a gap where you need a couple of $1,000s, couple of $100s, or if you need to fully pay out of pocket and loans is the way you want to go, choose loans. And it's just depending on what you want to do. If you do choose a loan, I believe there's 2 extra steps you have to do at the end to make sure that they know who you are and how you're going to pay it back. But it is completely up to you and what you want to do with the loan itself. Grants are free money that you do not have to pay back. The financial aid office at Cal State Fullerton will accept those on your behalf. And when it comes to scholarships can be from Cal State Fullerton overall. Some scholarships may want you to establish a GPA first your first semester, and then it opens up to more. Some you can do before you get here. It just all depends. But if you go to the financial aid website, again, search engine and Google to CSUF Financial Aid, and you click on undergraduate, it'll have a long list of information. It'll be the fourth column to the end. It'll say scholarships, and it'll let you know how you can access some of them. Again, it can be from the whole school overall. It can be per academic college. So if I'm a business major, for example, I can look under the College of Business Economics for scholarships, outside scholarships such as FastWeb, FinAid, and also look through for families. They can also look through your job if they offer through scholarships as well. And if you go to CSUF Financial Aid, they actually have webinars for parents and for students to go on. There's numerous, there's probably like 20 plus dates and times you can go through that they can help you with the application, answering general questions. So if you do want to go ahead and do that, I would go to the website and then click on one of the webinars and times that you want to go to and register. They're very helpful. They're awesome staff that just want to help overall. Also, if you do follow on social media at CSUF Office of Financial Aid, they are awesome. They go on IG Live to answer Q&A sessions. They post and repost information that's important to it. And lastly on this page is broken down the brackets when I was speaking of earlier of part-time and full-time. So 1 through 6 units is about $2,300 rounding up, and then full-time for 7 units or more is $3,400. So as I was mentioning before about the I choose 15, if you do 7 units or more, it's still going to be the same amount. So you want to make sure students are taking advantage, full on advantage of their financial aid. If you do want to see the breakdown of this entire, what's my money going towards and what am I paying for, you can actually go to CSUF Student Business Services, and they break down every fee that is a part of the tuition as well. So for parents and families that are here, I know I kind of went over very basic things when it comes for students knowing that what their deadlines are important, what are some resources that are there to help. Some other areas of assistance from yourself as families, parents and guardians, is the Parent Plus loan. And this is speaking on the financial aid side. The Parent Plus loan it's eligible for graduate students and parents of dependent undergraduate students. It can use to help pay for education expenses. I got this strictly from the website. I just snipped it and put it on here, but on the bottom is a link where I found it. And on the same page, it goes over how much can I borrow, what's the interest, how much time do I have to pay back, why should I do this? There's different areas. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of this, if this is an option that is beneficial for you as well. Some other areas to be more involved in your students' education. It's called Titan Parents and Families. So the contacts are on top, the phone number and the email. Email is best right now, just due to everyone being home and their access to their emails always in front of them. But basically with Titan Parents and Families, they provide information and resources to parents and families, foster pride and community amongst parents and CSUF students, and cultivate fundraising opportunities. So to get involved, there's new parent and family orientation that you can be involved in, Titan Parent and Family Association, that's only $30 to be a part of, and a volunteer circle, along with social media to how to follow them. To kind of bridge off more about that, there are, I took snippets of the social media. So if I go to CSUF Titan Parents, those are their followers, those are their Linktree. Linktree is always awesome to look at because it gives you quick resources, but you can also follow them on this area. And to branch off of the previous slide, to stay connected, parent-family relations is to help you and make sure related to Cal State Fullerton, so you can, the news and updates on campus. For the volunteer circle, it can be commencement, under concert under the stars, parents and family panas, homecoming, and much more. So if you do want to volunteer, again, this is all speaking pre-COVID times. If you do want to get more involved in the future, contact them and let them know that you want to be involved in the future as well. And join Titan Parent and Family Association, where you can get access to Cal State Fullerton staff member answer your questions, regular communication between them, and making your supporting your student. And the button on the bottom to say join us. So on the CSUF Titan Parents, you can definitely find that on the website. And on the bottom for the social media, there has a CSUF news, social media, and Facebook access. Another question that commonly from students and from families is housing and residential engagement. So this means that it's on campus living or off campus living. They have a wonderful website where they go through many details on the top. So as you can see on the left side, they have a whole panel going from about us to summer conferences. Those tabs have a lot of information, and I understand it can be a little overwhelming when it comes to tabs, but if you just take it step by step, you can definitely learn a lot of information. On the arrow on the left side, it says open for fall 2020, read our fall 2020 plans. They have a whole breakdown of what's occurring right now, how students are living. Most and majority of the classes are online. Some are actually on campus is due that can't be online, but it explains all information. They also have some directives for spring 2021. So if you do want to learn more information, always go to the website, navigate the website, but you could also contact them through housing@fullerton.edu, as they are the ones that are most knowledgeable what's occurring. And the website is www.fullerton.edu/housing. One area I did click, so let's say I clicked on future residents. If I click on that, it opens up to the bottom right page, and it has a lot of information on the left side of the panel that it's good to go through, like how to apply, what is a specific date, waivers and releases, and that's coming soon, single apartments, residence halls. So how does it differ from a first-time freshman being on campus through to a transfer student or a graduate student? Do they have community bathrooms? Do they have their own condos? Do they have a condo living, do they have resident hall living? Is there a convenience store on campus? They do at the gastronome, they do need a meal plan. So that it goes through all the options and all the information in one place to go over. They also do have a virtual map or a virtual function where you can go into and you can navigate the gastronome of how it looks on the inside. They do accommodate certain diets, accommodations like vegetarian, vegan, whatever it may be. They do accommodate all that. So this is just a great website to start learning now and what's going to happen for fall 2021. But again, all the information is coming slowly, but this is the best way to learn. And as we're coming to an end, just want to make sure students and families know that the application window again has been open since October 1st, and it does close December 4th, and that is the main website on the bottom. When it comes to campus tours and transfer center, these are virtual services where families and students can come together and they want to ask specific questions. When it comes to campus tours, we have 5 major programs, which is our daily tours, group tours, Titan Talks, academic college tours, and Life Help Now. The daily tours and group tours are the same presentation and same virtual tour, where it's a virtual map controlled by a Titan ambassador, which is a student on campus right now, and they work for our department, but they're live speaking to you, making sure you have any questions. When it comes for academic college tours, let's say I'm a college of business and economics, I have an interest in that. That's offered on a certain day. I believe it's Thursdays, and you can schedule a time for that specific day only to learn about College of Business. And although we have 8 colleges, we can squeeze them all in 5 days. Some may overlap, but they're always at 11 every day. Titan Talks are 25-minute Google Hangouts where you can chat with a Titan ambassador and learn more about the campus, any questions you have. And Live Help Now is actually located on our homepage for any general questions. You just say, I want to chat with somebody now, your name and your email. And as for Transfer Center, this is mostly guided towards transfer students from the community colleges, or even students coming from CSU to CSU or UC to CSU. We do get those types of students as well. But for transfer students, there's 20-minute appointments that you can make throughout the week daily to speak with a transfer peer advisor to go over college application, whatever it may be. And then lastly, the same thing as the group tours, we have guided tours. The Transfer Center has the same service, just at different times. There's mostly at 3 p.m. on specific days, where campus tours has them either 10 or 3 p.m. So again, if you want to navigate both sites, you're absolutely welcome to, where they're virtually to help you live all the time. Some function might be just typing, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But overall, you're welcome to scan the QR codes to access those. And they are also, you can access them on our fullerton.edu/OR, and you just click on the correct tab. And one of our last slides, again, the QR code here, if you do want to scan it and bookmark it to your phone. But this is to make sure that you can access our fall webinar series. We're actually coming to an end on those. We have 2 more left after this one I'm presenting. And those last 2 are the Cal State Q&A sessions. Any last minute questions you may have regarding, how do I fill it out? What does EOP mean? What does, certain terminology or certain quadrants, fee waivers, whatever may be, we'll do our best to guide you there. But we can always share a screen and show you how to navigate on a PDF as well, given on the Applicant Help Center. But we have gone through mostly all the 2 rows. And so these are actually located on our YouTube channel. So on the bottom of this slide, you see YouTube channel, CSUF Outreach and Recruitment. You can access all the recordings that were once live and now they're recorded. Feel free to watch them as many times as you want, share them with your friends and family to make sure they need any assistance. But you can also follow us at CSUF Outreach through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Any questions you may have after this this webinar, you're feel free to reach out to our email, which is csufor@fullerton.edu. We're there to help to answer questions you may have. If we don't have the correct answer, we need to answer to another colleague, we'll definitely reach back to you when we have that answer as well. But again, we have many resources. I understand being virtual can be a little frustrating, but we're here to help as much as we can. And then lastly, just like some quick couple links on the side for admissions, orientation, campus tours, financial aid, housing, and transfer center. If you do happen to call us, it does generate to a voicemail, but the best method for us is email at csufor@fullerton. So I'll go ahead and I will see the chat if you have any questions. We have about a little less than 15 minutes, so let me go ahead and check the chat. Okay, see if I can answer some out loud. Let's see. So I have training from any OC locals. Okay, so if I'm a transfer student from another CSU, do I have to reapply to your EOP program? Yes. So if you're a totally different program, different school, it's like reapplying to the whole campus again, because you do have to do the Cal State application again. Same process of applying and turning in your official transcripts, but you do indicate on the quadrant 3 of EOP program, you do want to make sure that you notify, yes, I want to be into the EOP program, and make sure you inform your 2 recommenders and fill out the questions you may have. So yes. And that was a great question. So it helps a lot of other transfer students as well. So what do you mean by minimum GPA cutoff for freshmen? So, okay, so Isaac answered it, but I'll answer it out loud so everyone can see. So for fall 2020 admissions, CSUF has a minimum GPA requirement for incoming freshmen, which is a 2.5 for California residents and a 3.0 for non-California residents. That means GPAs below that would not be considered for admission. So that is the way that Cal State Fullerton is going about. Just to give more background, that we went through trial and error to see what's best for our students to create more accessibility, make sure like what's going to impact them more in a positive way. And that is what is best for us at Cal State Fullerton. But it may be different for, I would say San Diego State might be different for Humboldt State University. So you want to make sure that you're always checking their admissions, because they may be asking supplemental questions, or they want you to fill out another area. So as for us, like Isaac said in the chat, I want to make sure that you meet the GPA cutoff. And again, that's just a minimum, because the cutoff can be depending how the students look, for a 4.0 all the way down to a 3.5. That may be the GPA cutoff, but we don't know yet, just because they're still doing applications. It does end on December 4th, and then that's when people need to start turning in their documentation. So there's always a step-by-step process, but in your control, make sure you have good grades and meet those deadlines specifically. So I know that I'm trying to look for more questions. I don't see any more. I had one at Q&A. You mentioned that one needed to go at the end of the application for the fee waiver. I didn't understand it. So you mentioned that you need to go to the end. Oh, okay, so when you're done with your application for Cal State Apply, you completed all 4 quadrants. So then now you want to see, okay, am I eligible for a fee waiver or not? So before you push submit or pay on that last page, you're going to see a small section in the middle of the page with a hyperlink, check for my fee waiver, and you can click it. Once you click it, it will let you know if you're eligible for a fee waiver, and it'll let you know how many, which is 4. But then when it comes to if you're not eligible, it might be because you didn't meet the eligibility requirements. But I don't want to say, don't be too afraid that that happens, because there's other resources and other ways that you can support your tuition and your fees. So I don't want you to be too stressed out about that. But if you do want to figure out why, they do have a link for you. But you can always put in the search engine for Google CSU fee waiver, and it'll take you to the page and it'll break down the information overall. That's a great question. And if there's any other questions, yeah, I will feel free to put them in the Q&A in the chat. And again, this will be recorded and put on the same area you did sign up, and it'll be the recorded. Tomorrow our campus is closed, but perhaps later this week we'll put it up on the YouTube page. But overall, QR code is here. You can always follow us on the social media. If you have any specific questions about a major or how our campus is, feel free to put that in the chat as well. Yep. Trying to see the chat. No problem, Jennifer. I know everybody has lots of questions, and I'm glad we're here to help out. But again, all the YouTube channel that they have everything you need when it comes to going over the quadrants, going over application kickoff, going to the Cal State application. But feel free to always reach out to your high school counselor, to your friends and family, to your colleagues on how to go about this. So as of right now, I do not see any other questions or Q&A. Let's see. Okay, so hi. So we have, what is the minimum GPA for a transfer student? So from a student from Cyprus. So hi, I'm actually your representative from Cyprus. So when it comes to minimum GPA for transfer students, when it was last year, it was a 2.8 for local and 3.2 for out of local, and a combination average of 3.32. When it comes for the fall 2021 semester, we don't have the information yet because admissions is still collecting applications. They're still going over information, still collecting the documents of official transcripts. So that is continuous from the time when you submit your application, when it comes from December 4th, all the way through 2021, and right before the start of fall 2021, that's when we get that information. So from there on, even from May 1st, that is a universal date where you need to accept your admissions from the campus that you want to go to. You want to make sure that, again, you want to know what's in your control, which is your GPA and your deadline. So when it comes from knowing the minimum cutoff, you won't know that until we get started for fall 2021. And that's when we'll start to name those numbers. But as of right now, again, your control GPA cutoff, or excuse me, GPA and deadlines overall. All right, awesome. And you're welcome, Nicholas, no problem. And I just seen the answered area. Thank you, Isaac, for answering everything. I think we're pretty good on our end when it comes to this webinar. And again, you can always download the freshman and the transfer guides when it comes to, you can download from our home website, which is fullerton.edu/OR. And you can just download them very quick. They're clickable. You can keep them just for yourself, and it keeps you on track. But I don't see any more questions or Q&A. So I think that'll be it for now. But I appreciate everyone, all families, for joining us. It was fun. I appreciate you being on a late evening. But any questions you may have, take a screenshot if you need of this, but CSUFOR@fullerton.edu. Other than that, we'll go ahead and end here. But thank you for coming. Bye, everyone.